Hello and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Vidya-mitra and I teach English at Symbiosis Law School, Hyderabad, where I handle both the language and literature section. As part of this module, we shall be studying another greatest stalwart of Bengali and Indian theatre, also in Indian film, Utpal Dutt. And one of his drama has been given as the case study, which is Kallol. Kallol is difficult to translate as in English, but then again it will be in a rough translation, roar or cacophony, but in a very positive sense. What do I mean by positive sense? I shall be talking about it only a few minutes' time. Before we start getting into the deeper side of the play, please do understand that the objective of this module is to introduce you to three things. First, it's IPTA, Indian People's Theatre Association. The second is to go into the life and the works of Utpal Dutt, a few snippets from his biography. And the third one is Kallol as such, the Kallol, the play as such. What is it about? How is exactly Utpal Dutt is energizing his own political values into the play and the others. Now, before we go into Utpal Dutt and we go into Kallol, please understand that Utpal Dutt was a person who was most of the time was guided by his own philosophy and philosophical ideology, and Kallol as such, as a play really, it is also another representation of his political ideology. So what happens is that there is a point of convergence. Utpal Dutt is proceeding towards the final goal of his political ideology. Kallol as a play is also proceeding towards its final goal of political ideology. So naturally there is a converging point where both Utpal Dutt and his play shall be encountering a classic creator and creation syndrome, which is a mirror stage, a mirror of each other, mirror image of each other. If we are talking about Utpal Dutt, we cannot but speak about Kallol. Utpal Dutt, although he is more known to us through his several film appearances, he is actually first and foremost a political dramatist. He was not only an actor, but certainly he wrote the drama as well. Not only that, he played a very important part in the whole stage direction department, the sound, the light, basically a complete man of dramaturgy. Utpal Dutt, by the age of 18, and the year was 1947, he immersed himself in IPTA. IPTA is Indian People's Theatre Association. Indian People's Theatre Association was a collective at that time, which took it upon itself in order to make the people aware of whatever is happening outside. Whatever is happening outside, meaning whatever is happening outside sociologically, politically and financially. And it was not a nice time, 1947 and after that. Utpal Dutt was a leftist dramatist, which means that as if by definition, he was not happy with the present situation that we got after the country got its independence, the so-called independence, as they will be saying. According to him, and according to many other stalwarts at IPTA, that this independence really doesn't hold any value. Why? Because the same hierarchy of the ruler and the ruled was still going on. In the place of the British masters, we have the brown masters, but then again, the color of the skin really doesn't matter. Whether you're being ruled by the white men or the brown men, ruling is the same thing, oppression is also the same thing, and being poor and suffering endlessly certainly doesn't change its own face. So, situation is the same. For the majority of the country, there is absolutely no doubt that the situation remains unchanged. Utpal Dutt was a staunch believer in that respect, in that ideology, and he tried to attack the Congress government, his very favorite political side at that time to attack, actually his favorite enemy was the Congress side, and also the ruling party replied back to him by imprisoning him several times. He was out on bail in order to act in a film directed by Shashi Kapoor, the Guru. But then again, let us go back. Utpal Dutt was at arms with the current political scenario. But it was very clear to him, and he was a sharp man, that the current political scenario is such that any seditious comment as in speaking against the country or the country's hukumat as such, they will be treated with the harshest possible punitive measure that is there. So Utpal Dutt was imprisoned several times, and later he learned his lesson that whenever he is going to comment upon the particular political aspect of the country present, he will have to disguise it in some manner. So Kallol comes out as his perfect political disguise, because he is not talking about the Congress politics as such. He is taking the audience back to a time which happened much before. Remember, Kallol was first staged in 1965, but Kallol's background is the Royal Indian Navy revolt in 1946, 19 years ago. So if we are looking for any villains in the play, we are looking at the Britishers, really. But if we know the direction of the history at that time a little, we shall know that the things are way more complicated than that. Why exactly? Royal Indian Navy revolt was a revolution, or a revolution in the making, that happened in 1946. Remember, 1946 was a terrible time. There was famine happening. There were several people who were lying dead on the street. There was seething anger against the British rulers at that time. Muslim League and the Congress Party were negotiating with the idea of dividing the country, making India and Pakistan, and how to rule it. And the Britishers were helping them. Royal Indian Navy, guided by the Communist Party, joined in this revolution. Their basic demand at the very beginning was that the base workers of the Navy, the very base workers, basically the gunners, the other sailors who really do not earn much wage and much respect, they shall be given the equal rights. But then again, that was not happening. It started like that, but very soon it became very, very apparent that they're looking for something big. They're looking for a revolution. They're looking for a change, not only in the Navy, but in the particular section of society, or maybe in the pan-Indian society itself, so that everything is changed. They would be bringing the new tomorrow, and they can fight. They are experienced soldiers, they are experienced gunners, they can kill and they can do the war, they can wage the war for the independence of their country. That was so far so good, but later on, the whole revolutionary idea fizzed out somewhere in the middle. Why? Because first of all, it was guided, the only political party that was guiding them at that time was the Communist Party. And the Communist Party was not exactly the favorite of the other parties. So naturally, the Britishers and the Congress Party, they colluded with each other, and they sabotaged the entire process from the very middle. And also the colonies, the naval colonies as such, where people were also hoarding money, hoarding food grains, hoarding weapons in order to fight with the Britishers, those were massacred. Many people died. Many people died, many villages were decimated. At the same time, and more importantly, several like lance officer and other people, other sailors and other gunners were taking part. They were dishonorably discharged from the Navy. Not only that, although they were dishonorably discharged by the Britishers, after the country got the independence, they didn't have their job back and they died in acute poverty. So we can actually take it up as a case study where the rulers of our country, our rulers, and those other rulers, which are the Britishers, were working as if hand in a glove, and they're trying to sabotage a particular revolutionary idea which they thought would be going against them. The Royal Indian Navy revolt is the main purpose of Utpal Dutt in Kallol. Other than Kallol, Dutt also has had written several other important plays, all part thriller and very revolutionary. For example, Fauj-e-Banduk, Kashmir Princess, and others. But then again, Kallol remains his magnum opus. If we talk about Utpal Dutt, the dramatist, we shall be talking about Kallol. Let us go into Kallol. Kallol, or the roar, or the cacophony. It talks about a particular ship that is based on its real life counterpart, HMS Akbar. But HMS Akbar is changed, the name is changed into the play HMS Khaibar. In HMS Khaibar, there is the hero of the play. Remember, Utpal Dutt was telling a story. He is not like Badal Sarkar, who would be completely subverting the basic idea of a story and would be saying that the play, the very chorus is basically the hero. The very audience is basically the hero. The collective, there are several other people who will be playing different roles. That is the style of Badal Sarkar, not the style of Utpal Dutt. Utpal Dutt wants to tell a story. So there is a hero, there is a villain, and there is also a heroine as such, but we shall be coming to that aspect a little later. His name is Shardul Singh. Shardul Singh is lovesick. Although he's a very good gunner and he's revered by his own fellow countrymen, Shardul Singh is lovesick because Shardul Singh has left his wife Lakshmi Bai in the naval colony. Later on, as the play progresses, he will slowly understand that his personal love for a particular woman is actually not important. What matters is the love for his own country, his own freedom, not only his own freedom, but the social freedom as such. There are several other characters as well, for example, his wife Lakshmi Bai, and then there are other characters, for example, the revolutionary leader, Saxena. Saxena is the revolutionary leader, that is one important character, that's why I'm telling to you about him. Saxena, although he is a revolutionary leader, at the same time he is pliant. What do I mean? Although he believes that the revolution should happen, he also at the same time believes that revolution must come at a price, and to pay that price, if you have to do a handshake with the other bourgeois system, the rulers to a little, negotiating a little, taking out your space a little, then it really does not matter, because success is all that matters. But then again, Shardul Singh and his more radical friends, they certainly think that if you do that handshake, it is not actually a handshake, it is wearing an invisible chain. The revolution that they want, the revolution of total change, that will never come in that way, because those people, they will remain the rulers. Anyhow, and please do understand that whenever I am saying that Shardul Singh is the hero and the Britishers are the villain, I'm not meaning that Utpal Dutt is going down the same way and the hero is the good or villain is the bad purpose. Not really. Shardul Singh has got several negative attitudes, negative attributes in his character. For example, he's headstrong. He's also kind of foolish. At the same time, on the other side, there are several British officers who are, although the loyal subject of Her Majesty, but at the same time, they are kind of sympathetic to the revolutionaries and their cause. For example, there is an officer who is extremely good at curbing down the revolution, Rattray, but he does not want to sabotage them. Why? Because he has the old value. The enemy cannot be sabotaged. You'll have to fight them on the ground, you'll have to defeat them. If you cannot, you get yourself defeated, but then again, you cannot sabotage them, because that is not proper enough. Also, there is another officer called Rebello. Rebello is another person who has got a slight hint of sympathy for the revolutionaries themselves, but then again, he is helpless under the command of his superiors. We start with Kallol. Kallol starts with a battle scene, a fight. A fight that is happening on the sea with an Italian ship. That Italian ship is destroyed, but drunk by that victory and drunk by the sense of their own power, the sailors on the ship, they decide that it's enough. They are not going to take the orders from their white superiors. under the leadership of Saxena, they go ahead and make that entire ship a free zone, a free revolutionary zone. Not only that, that ship comes over there and takes away the naval colony that Shardul Singh's family is also living in. Shardul Singh, when he goes back into the colony as a free citizen and the whole colony becomes like a free city, he goes over there and finds that his wife is actually living together with another man. He is devastated at first and he wants to kill both of them, but then again later on he understands that he has been missing in action for so long that everybody has their own particular life and they will go ahead with it. There is no stopping it. As I said, Shardul Singh started off as a lovelorn sailor, but later he became a true revolutionary and they started to fight. Now, the Britishers thought that this is a very dangerous precedence. They have the gun, they are experienced, nobody can take them up, nobody can challenge them on open sea, so they are playing politics. First of all, they join hands with the Congress party, the ruling party. And then they call Saxena. Saxena, who is, as I said, he's a pliant guy. He's a simple guy. He believes in negotiation. So, through Saxena, they try to play the role of the mediator. They are saying that, okay, fine, we'll be giving you the independence, but we will have to be under the white flag and we shall talk. Now, the sailors, in their simplicity, respond to that. They come under the white flag, but immediately they are arrested. And when Saxena asks that what happened to our MOU, our Memorandum of Understanding, that nobody will be arrested and everybody will be let go scot-free, then they say, people like these, what sort of promise are you supposed to make? Even if you are going to promise them something, these people are like snakes. These people, as in the sailors, the Indians, the revolutionaries, these people are like snakes. They will bite you at the very first go, so we are arresting them. The sailors are not only arrested, they are betrayed, arrested and taken to custody where they are tortured unspeakably and they are finally killed. At the same time, the envoy, in a military armored British car, they go over there in the colony and they blackmail Shardul Singh's wife and mother, saying that show us where exactly you are hoarding the arms and ammunitions so that we will be sparing Shardul Singh's life. In order to get mercy for Shardul, they give them that. But when they go in the custody, in order to meet Shardul, all they see is his dead body. And the officer, as I said, the other character, sympathetic a little bit towards the revolutionary side, Rebello, when they're when he sees that the people are crying over there on Shardul's body, he is dumbfounded because he didn't have any idea. He understands that he also has been duped by his officials because the officials didn't reveal this plan thinking that Rebello is too soft. The play ends in a tragedy. The play ends in a tragedy. The hero dies. The audience is tremendously involved, completely seeped in the basic vibe of the story. But later, it is spoken by the commentator, and there is a commentator throughout the entire play who would be coming over there and speaking audience's mind. When the drop scene comes down, the commentator comes to the stage and says that, yes, this was the fate of the Royal Indian Navy Revolution, but we are not going to stop here. This Shardul Singh's death is going to be a catalyst for the birth of several thousand Shardul Singhs all over the country. This revolution is not going to end. It just hit a temporary roadblock and it will go on again, and we shall not stop until and unless all the oppressions, political, religious, whatever, are going away from this country and our present society. We are not going to see whatever the ruler's color is. We are going to decimate them, we are going to destroy them irrespective of their politics and nationality. As you can clearly understand, Utpal Dutt here is speaking, although he is speaking about the British system and its oppression, Utpal Dutt very cleverly is actually putting a very sharp critic of the Congress party here as such. And then there are several characters who are actually our own fellow countrymen who are actually, let's say, eager to debate over, and finally sabotage and betray the revolutionary perspective that the others are taking. So my point is that yes, the main enemy might be outside, the main enemy might be the white Britishers, but there is also a fraction of enemy living within. And Utpal Dutt's point being, until and unless we do not defeat those enemies working in us, those insiders amongst us, then there is no revolution possible as such. We have to identify them, we will have to destroy them, or we will have to negotiate and make a change in their art so that they join us. But with the enemies who are our own fellow countrymen, we cannot proceed in the revolutionary tactics. Such is the story of Kallol. Now comes the style of Kallol. Remember, IPTA was working under the same idea of melodrama. Melodrama is basically a certain kind of dramatic style where everything will be loud. Utpal Dutt brings everything loudly because first of all it's a war drama. War, everything is loud. Everybody is fighting, everybody shouts, everybody is giving several nautical explanations of several stages of the warship, how the guns would be positioned and such in a very loud voice. When they cry, when they scream, when they do violence, it's all very loud. But at the same time, we can completely understand that it's hitting the audience like a sledgehammer, and the audience cannot sit straight on their seat and saying that yes, this is wrong or this is right. Utpal Dutt's basic idea is to go towards the audience, engulf them, wash them over with emotion, so that at the end of the novel the audience is also destroyed. Not only destroyed, they see the wrong in themselves, so that they support the cause of the play. Kallol was financially, commercially at ease. Kallol was tremendously successful. Many people came to watch the play and it ran repeat shows night after night. But it was at the same time very cleverly critiquing the present government of post-colonial India. Also remember, Utpal Dutt in this particular manner is also the perfect progenitor of the third theatre by Badal Sarkar. Why? Because he was not a big supporter. Unlike Bijan Bhattacharya, he was not a big supporter of stage props. He didn't put much importance on the stage direction, on the sets, on the light or the sound. He believed that if the acting is sound enough, then all such noises, all such drama shall be coming to the audience like itself. So it's a minimalistic play. There are only a few sets, for example, a few cannons, a little bit of set designing for the ship only. But then again, most of the time, people would be dressed in very common dress. And they would be speaking, they would be fighting, they would be dying right there on stage in an empty background. Yes, the enemy might be outside your door, but the enemy is also inside your own house. And if the revolutionary tactics is failing to notify them, failing to identify them amidst the crowd, then it's the revolutionary's failure. So, in order to bring the perfect revolution, you will have to try, you will have to learn, you will have to stop, you will have to go back. But remember, revolution shall happen. It might hit a temporary roadblock like Shardul Singh did, but then again, this is certainly not the end. Utpal Dutt wrote many other plays in this same vein. We can now understand, in order to evade the constant vigilance of the censor board of that time, for example, his play Tiner Talwar, the talwar, the sword made of tin, is also about a certain ragtag bunch of dramatists and actors working under the British rule, and the Britishers are trying to stop them because they are presenting a play that is speaking of independence of the country. But then again, although they know that after the play, after the show, they will be arrested, they do not stop. They do not stop. They even physically, forcibly throw the soldiers off the stage, and they finish their play, and then they are arrested. They go to the doom, but then again, before going, they make the resounding statement. That's point one. Point two is Utpal Dutt, style-wise, is the perfect progenitor, the perfect precursor of the third theatre by Badal Sarkar. Badal Sarkar, about whom you'll be learning about in a different module. And over there, Badal Sarkar brought the minimalistic style of play. Utpal Dutt actually brought it for the first time. And the ship, the gun, the sound, the light, everything would be dependent, almost congruent to the actor's line delivery. So, melodrama-wise, minimalistic dramaturgy-wise, this particular play is considered to be one of the greatest ever that happened on Indian stage. It was also the greatest play written, as many claim, by Utpal Dutt himself. Utpal Dutt later expands his career. He goes into commercial movies. He does the film, the very famous comedy film with Amol Palekar called Golmaal, the original Golmaal. But then again, his claim to fame, his real love always lies with the play. And that would be the end of it, I guess. We shall be seeing each other. If you want to know anything else regarding this, you can refer to the e-text that has been attached to this file. And then there is also the Learn More section. There are several other snippets of Utpal Dutt's biography, and there is also a detailed explanation of what the Kallol was like, scene-wise and act-wise. That is the end of this discussion. Thank you very much. We shall meet each other again.